welcome back to The Wire. My name is Gabe Caligiuri, and it's good to be back with you. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone about our upcoming Maranatha End Time Summit near Dallas, Texas, this July 13th through the 15th. Our own Dalton Thomas and Joel Richardson will be keynote speakers at the conference, along with a roster of guest speakers, musical worship, a panel luncheon, which includes some of our executive leaders and field workers, as well as the premiere of our new film series, Lion of Judah. It's been a while since the extended FAI family got together in the same place at the same time, and this will be the first time we've done it stateside, so we would love to see you there. You can register by going to MaranathaSummit.com. Discount pricing for larger groups is available. All right, now down to business. Our first story today focuses on the upcoming presidential runoff election in Turkey, where incumbent President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is locked in a head-to-head battle with unity opposition candidate Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. Known as a quiet and moderate man in contrast to the loud and combative Erdogan, Kılıçdaroğlu is a member of the center-left-leaning CHP, or in English, Republican People's Party, the largest secular party in Turkey, which holds to the legacy of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of the modern state of Turkey. The CHP is the largest party in what is called the Nation Alliance, which is an alliance between 6 political parties opposed to President Erdogan and his AK party, which has controlled the Turkish government for the last 20 years. Kılıçdaroğlu is a member of the Alevi community, which is a religious minority centered in eastern Turkey that holds to something like a very unstructured form of Shia Islam. Turkey is over 90% Sunni Muslim, so the fact that an Alevi candidate has been able to present such a significant challenge to Erdogan, despite the fact that the president has consolidated power across every sector of Turkish society for the past 2 decades, is an incredible feat and a testimony to Erdogan's very tenuous hold on power. On May 15th, in the first round of the presidential election, Kılıçdaroğlu's bloc managed to garner almost 45% of the popular vote, which combined with a smaller third candidate to keep Erdogan's tally just under 50%. That result triggered a runoff election, which will take place this Sunday, May 28th, just a few hours after the publication of this video, so something our viewers can pray about right now. The biggest issues in the election continue to be Erdogan's handling of the Turkish economy, as inflation rose above 30% in 2023, while value of the Turkish lira has steadily plummeted to record lows, exchanging at above 20 lira to every US dollar. Many economists blame the Turkish government's questionable economic policy of lowering interest rates during an inflationary period for the continued decline. The ongoing question of what to do with 3.5 million Syrian refugees inside Turkey's borders is the largest, or the second largest, issue in the campaign, with both candidates making promises to begin mass resettlements, aka deportations, of refugees back to Syria. However, Kılıçdaroğlu's rhetoric has been more tempered regarding Turkey's military exploits in Syria, Iraq, Libya, and elsewhere compared to the hegemony of Erdogan's military expansion during the last decade, leading many to believe that a Kılıçdaroğlu victory would lead to drawdowns in the Turkish military's deployments in those nations. As a secularist, Kılıçdaroğlu's government would undoubtedly take a different stance towards domestic affairs compared to Erdogan's extreme nationalist and Islamist government, which has jailed hundreds of Kurdish politicians and public figures for alleged support of terrorism, and which has one of the highest rates of journalist imprisonment of any democracy in the world. Erdogan's interior ministry is led by Süleyman Soylu, a figure who often makes the news for his threats against Kurdish groups and Western countries, including the United States, which is technically a NATO ally of Turkey. Although recent polls show that the race has been neck and neck in the closest national election for Turkey since the founding of the modern state, Erdogan does appear to be pulling ahead in the final hours of the campaign, apparently confirming the predictions of many analysts familiar with Turkish politics, including FAI's own, that Erdogan will find a way to win. If he does win, despite widespread government abuse of power, corruption, mismanagement of the economy, and a ham-fisted response to the devastating earthquakes in February, it will be a testament to the power of personality in Turkish politics, that despite the realities of daily life, a majority of Turks, albeit a very slight and aging majority, prefer to be governed by a seemingly strong leader who has centralized power and who is perceived as a reviver of the Ottoman Empire's glory days, when the Turks controlled most of the Middle East, North Africa, and Southern Europe, including the history of the Ottoman sultans as protectors of a Muslim Jerusalem. For more on the importance of Jerusalem in the Ottoman tradition and Erdogan's increasing role in support of Palestinian militants in East Jerusalem, you can read The Wire's special report titled The Sultan and the Mount from July 2021. Just use your favorite search engine to search for FAI Wire Sultan and the Mount, and then click on the link for the article at faistudios.org. In our second story of the day, both U.S. and Israeli diplomatic and military leaders are using increasingly concerning language in reference to the Iranian nuclear program. The Wire reported earlier this year that the International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed that it had found traces of uranium enriched to 84% at one Iranian nuclear site, while Western intelligence agencies are now reporting evidence of enrichment as high as 87%. Just below Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's red line of 90% enrichment, which is the necessary threshold for weapons-grade uranium. Both the U.S. and Israeli governments agree that Iran could easily begin enriching uranium above 90% within a matter of days if it chose to do so, but neither nation has confirmed whether it has intelligence that Iran has actually crossed that red line. Even if it did, it would still take the Iranian government months to enrich enough uranium for a weapon and then to construct a bomb, meaning that Israel and the Western world would have time to hopefully come to a consensus regarding how to act. The Biden administration's policy is still to revive the now defunct 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iranian nuclear deal, while the Israeli government has repeatedly warned that the deal only emboldens and enriches a regime that is not only intent on building a nuclear weapons arsenal, but also an advanced missile arsenal, and which sponsors terrorism and drug cartel enterprises around the world. Israel has made it clear that it will take military action against Iran before it allows Tehran to have a bomb, and will do so alone if necessary. It's unclear whether the U.S. government would participate or coordinate with Israel in the event of such a strike. Only time will tell. Nevertheless, the operations chief of the Israeli military said this week that his government is quickly approaching what he called money time in regards to the Iranian nuclear issue. And as we see Iran continue to increase pressure against Israel on every front through asymmetric warfare of its proxies, we can expect to see this issue come to a head sooner rather than later. Speaking of Iranian proxies, the military wing of Hezbollah conducted public military exercises in the southern part of that country last weekend. The group's public statements and the nature of the exercises made it clear that it is training for an incursion into northern Israel, where tens of thousands of Israeli Jews and Arabs live in communities along the border. Hezbollah, which translates in Arabic to Party of Allah, is a political party, social welfare organization, and a militia which was established in the Shia Muslim majority region of southern Lebanon by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, in the mid-1980s during the chaos of the Lebanese Civil War. After the withdrawal of the Israeli military from southern Lebanon in the year 2000, Hezbollah has come to dominate the region politically, economically, and militarily, largely due to the patronage of the IRGC, creating a shadow government inside of Lebanon, which the Lebanese government is now unwilling or unable to rein in. According to the U.S. State Department, the Iranian government provides Hezbollah with, quote, most of its funding, training, weapons, and explosives, as well as political, diplomatic, and monetary and organizational aid, end quote. Iran's support of Hezbollah is in violation of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1559, passed in 2004, which calls for the withdrawal of foreign governments and militaries from Lebanon and for the disbanding of paramilitary militias. An important part of Iran's aid to its Lebanese proxy includes the development of an expansive missile arsenal, which most experts believe includes around 150,000 missiles, including precision-guided missiles with ranges that cover the entire state of Israel, meaning that an open war between Israel and Hezbollah would be much larger and more destructive than any conflict with Gaza militant groups over the past 2 decades. Hezbollah has also been gradually expanding its occupation of southwestern Syria, as the defeat of rebel forces there and the lack of Syrian regime control has created a power vacuum that the IRGC and Hezbollah have gladly stepped into, creating another front between Iran and Israel along the Golan Heights frontier. According to U.S. intelligence, Hezbollah's so-called Golan unit is currently training near Syria's capital with tanks to attack American troops based inside Syria. There are currently 2 small but active U.S. military missions inside Syria. One is working with moderate rebel forces along the Jordanian border, and the other is working with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces in the autonomous northeast region known as Rojava. Hezbollah has gained invaluable combat experience over the last decade while fighting with the IRGC against Sunni rebel forces during the Syrian civil war in support of Iran's ally, Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. It has put that experience to use in Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq as the best armed and most well-financed non-state army in the world, outpacing many third-world state militaries. The Israeli government has already identified Hezbollah as responsible for a terrorist attack in northern Israel on March 13th of this year. That incident involved a Hezbollah operative who scaled the Israel-Lebanon border fence and planted an explosive device along Highway 65 near the Megiddo Junction. The device later detonated and seriously injured an Arab-Israeli man who had major head injuries and blindness as a result of the attack. The state of Israel paid for the man's medical treatment according to its policy of medical care and disability payments and stipends to all Israeli citizens wounded in terror attacks, regardless of their ethnicity or religion. The Hezbollah operative was later shot and killed by the IDF as he attempted to cross back into Lebanon. Without elaborating, the Israeli government has claimed that the Megiddo Junction attack was not Hezbollah's only recent foray into Israel for nefarious purposes, and that Iran continues to ratchet up pressure on the Jewish state through both its Shia and Sunni jihadist groups, especially Hezbollah, Hamas, and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. That being said, we would encourage our Wire viewers to join the ongoing Isaiah 62 fast, sponsored by the International House of Prayer in Kansas City, during this season of Jewish worship known as Shavuot in the Hebrew Bible, what Christians refer to by its Greek name as Pentecost, both when Moses received the Torah from God at Mount Sinai, and when the early disciples received the outpouring of the Holy Spirit in Jerusalem. You can learn more about the fast at Isaiah62fast.com. Also, we would ask you to continue praying for and consider investing in FAI's bomb shelter campaign as we continue to work with local authorities and contractors in northern Israel to renovate civilian bomb shelters in preparation for the Jewish state's all but certain eventual conflict with Iran and Hezbollah. 100% of your donations go to the work, as we say, straight from your bank account to the bomb shelter. This initiative is a critical way for FAI to sow the seeds of good news, of great joy in the house of Israel. As always, we love you all. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in Texas in July. The Wire will be there. Blessings to you, and Maranatha.